Hello and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And as a demonstrator, we are allowed to order a pre-order of some of the products which are going to be coming in the new annual catalogue, which launches on June the 3rd. And so I thought I would get a couple of little things just to see what they were like. Now, the first thing that I am going to, or the thing that I'm going to show you today is the stitched nested labels dies. Now, the dies that we're doing now are going to be totally different from our old dies. Now, whenever there's change, it's always a little bit daunting and we think, oh, what's going to happen? So I thought I would do a review to show you exactly the difference between our the dies that we have always sold and the dies that we are going to sell. So the first thing that you will notice is that the case is very different. It's much clearer. This is I'm doing a comparison with the rectangle stitch, so both the stitch dies, just to show you the difference. So the rectangle stitch die has a little flap that goes in, so you can tuck it into the large flap or the small flap, and it just sort of tucks in. Yes, you have to wiggle it a bit to get it in. The same as any of them, and the actual case is, as I say, it's slightly opaque, so you can't see through it. Now, the new one, it's a lot clearer, exactly the same, yes, exactly the same size as the rectangle stitched. The wording, so let me just get this back in here. They're always a bit difficult. You can take it through the top bit. We have the old ones. It's written along the top with the number. And you've just got Big Shot underneath. Now, the new ones are, first thing you notice, stamping cut and emboss. So it means that you can emboss with them maybe easier than you can with the old ones. The wording of the actual die that's in there is a little smaller. If you have a look, let me sort of bring it up so you can see it a little bit clearer. Let's get that in focus. Stitched nesting label dies. So the wording is smaller on there. Stamping, cut and emboss is the largest words on there. You've then got, and I'm going to read in English, it says tips. These dies are designed to make clean cuts and crisp score lines. However, variations in materials can affect performance. If necessary, use a shim or run the die through the stamping cut and emboss machine more than once to get the results you want. To make it easier to remove the cardstock from the die, you can push a toothpick through the holes in the die. Okay, very similar to most dies. Some machines we need shims, some we don't. I've actually used this. I've used it on the magnetic platform, which I use all the time with my Big Shot. Not a problem at all. Cut beautifully. Okay, so turning it over, we have a different type of closure. So this closure, we open it up like this. It's got a little slot in there. And I found that if you just sort of bend it a bit, it will slide in relatively easy, no different to the other one. Takes a little bit of a technique to put it in. Again, we've got some words on the back. It says to use these dies, you'll need a stamping, cut and emboss machine and cutting plate and a standard plate. Supervise small children. Yep, you'd never let children do it. And it says standard plate, die, single sheet of cardstock, cutting plate. So again, very similar, no difference. So let's open this up and have a look. So I'm going to take this one out so you can see, and I'm going to take the case out of this one so you can see the comparison of the two. Okay, so again, I actually quite like the new case. This is the old case. It is more opaque. You've got Sizex and Stampin' Up on there. Obviously, we're not doing the Big Shot machine, so we're not going to have Sizex on there. This case doesn't have any logos or anything like that on it. It's just a clear place. It is slightly thinner. It's very robust, stitching down the side. Let's take this one. yeah, apart from it being opaque, to be quite honest, there is very little difference between the two. Okay, so that's the case done. I'm going to put the cases just out of the way so we can just have a look at the comparison between the two. So we just have Stampin' Up on there, which is really good. Open it up and you've got the two different dies on there. So let's take, I'm going to take the largest one of this one out. The thing they've turned around and said is that the glue on here, which always used to be, you'd have to really struggle to take it off the sheet, and I always got rid of it and put it on the magnetic sheets. It is slightly easier. It still sticks quite firmly, but it is slightly easier to get it off. So let's compare. Let's take one that's going to be roughly the same sort of size. Difference between the two dies. You'll notice that these are slightly, they're flatter. They are the same thickness. There is no difference in thickness to the dies at all. In fact, these are, they're actually wider. So you can see the distance between this and the rectangular other one, they're slightly wider, but they are, they're flatter. They're not, if you move your fingers along these ones, there's not a huge amount of difference. These are a little bit thicker. However, they are, yeah, I would say that they are, well, I can't tell the difference in the thickness of them. In fact, as I say, these are obviously slightly wider because you've got the double stitch on there as well as the cutting line. So again, you know, they look absolutely brilliant. So I don't think that there's a huge amount of difference between the two. I think they're absolutely brilliant. I'm going to put these ones away because we're not focusing on these ones. We're focusing on the new ones. So these are, I've got to remember the name again. Let's just put these ones out of the way because we don't need these ones anymore. So these are called, let's take it out to this side. You have to put it on that side. Stitched Nested Labels dies. Okay. So we have 8 of them in different sizes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then you've got a piece along here. Now, this is for embossing. It does not cut. I originally thought that you could probably put it across there and cut a piece in 2. It doesn't. It's used for embossing. There is no cutting line on this one. So it's an embossing piece. So interesting, and I will be thinking of ways to use that one as well as using these. So I've run some of them through, and as I say, easy pass, not difficult to do at all, and you can see that the stitching is absolutely lovely. I've used some different sort of retard cardstock because I like to do one of each one to just sort of see the sizes. So that is your largest one. Okay, so if we put them down on here, that's the largest one. This is the next size down. So if you're looking at it from this way, that's your largest, that's the next size down, going from sort of one side to the other. And they will nest, as the name suggests, perfectly inside like that. So you have a really nice, and that will be a large focal point on a card. You know, you're talking, let me just get a standard card. Okay, here's just a standard, doesn't match the colours, don't worry about it, but that's our standard base for our cards. And if I then put, let's just put this on top to just show you. Yes, you see that will make a really nice focal point on a card. Put some DSP behind it, put that up, absolutely lovely. Okay, so those are the largest 2. Let's go down to the next size down. So that one, oh no, that was the largest one as well. So let's put that one to one side. I was just trying to do some layers with it. That's the next size down on here. So again, next size and next size down. So I'm just doing them to show you exactly how they will nest, which again, they nest beautifully. So those two. Now this is the one that I did with this little piece. So this piece here, and you can see I originally, as I say, looked at it and thought, oh, it'll cut. It doesn't. It embosses. So that's what it's like when it cuts it straight through the center. So let me just bring that up a little bit so you can see, get that in focus. You can see that that literally would just emboss it down on the center. So so again, you could probably use it for folds. You could use it on different shapes. You could cut along that line and then make it, you know, pull it out a bit. But as I say, this one is for embossing only. So let's take the next two down. So those two come down like, and I've done two of the same purely because if I wanted to nest it up again, excuse the colour combinations, because as I say, first time using it, I've just cut it out. But you can see you can put three on quite nicely. Let's put this one on this one. So this is coming down again to the smaller one. My fingers don't work very well at the moment. Right, so put this one on here. And you've got the next size down. So again, yes, working it down, you can work it down. I've just got those as a pair. And then we've got some of the smaller ones. So this comes one down like that, which again, it is a really nice sort of combination, those three together. Nice little label. And then we've got the two smallest ones. So if I just put that on there, you can see you've got quite a nice sort of layer up on there if you wanted to, which would make a good piece. And then these smaller ones I thought would be absolutely perfect to do little sort of flag things. If we put them, and I've only done a couple of them, but you can put them sort of next to each other like that. Let's put it on something like that so you can see it a bit clearer. But if we put them like this, I know they would be little tags, but I think that you could probably make some really nice patterns. We always have little scraps left, so I'm going to look at doing something that will work and put them all together and make sort of a geometric pattern. So that's the tiniest one here. Let me just get it out. So you can see that's that one, which cuts the inside piece like that with your stitching and a little bit of a border. I haven't done the embossing side of things yet, but I will have a go. But I just wanted to come on and show you that these are absolutely lovely. Again, it's something I'm going to use a lot of because I love the patterning, I love the sizing. I love that we get so many within the pack. So as I say, you've got 8 great sizes, plus you've got this piece that gives you an embossed line as well, which you can, as I say, I'm lots of ideas on that. I've just got to play around with it because it's only just arrived, but I wanted to come on and show you exactly how good these dies are. And as I say, don't worry that they are slightly different because they work exactly the same as our other dies and they cut absolutely perfectly. I've found no difference whatsoever between these and between our old style. So let's put them back in the case. I do like the fact that the case is completely see-through because I think that that will work well. I will probably put it onto a magnetic sheet because that's how I just generally store them. But again, put it in there. If you just slightly bend, you can see how I'm slightly, well, hopefully you can, slightly curve it, it just pops straight in. So let's do that again. So if you hold it like that, just slightly curve it and it pops straight in. Now, I have dexterity problems. As you know, I've got arthritis in my hands. I've had no problem with these at all. As I say, it will take me a little time to get used to the fact that the wording is just on the bottom. But I do like the fact that it's you can see right through. So what you can do if you don't like that, you can always type and put it on your computer, take it off and just label it along the top if you want it larger. But as I say, I'll get used to it. It's like everything, something new. But I'm really impressed with them, think they're absolutely great, and thought I would come on and share with you. So thank you so much for watching me. Do look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.